Alrighty, playing chess with QB1, Max Brosmer. Max, first things first, let's just start with chess. How long you been playing, and why is this game drawn into you?
Yeah, I think I really started playing chess my freshman year of college, which is about 6 years ago. It's crazy I'm saying 6 years ago, but I think for me it's the relationship between chess and football. I think it's a number one a mind game, and I've always talked about my strength is my preparation and how I can see the field. And chess is something similar where you have to be able to see a move or two ahead, and be able to feel where you're being attacked and where you can attack at the same time. And I think it's a really good kind of break away from football too. Like if you're doing football all day, you need like 5 or 10 minutes of break time. It's good to just get on your phone and play some chess.
Take it away, my man.
Yeah. So I got blessed with playing white. I get to move first. Haven't played on a chessboard in a long time, but this is a beautiful chessboard.
So I can go two because
you can,
it's
yeah.
the first time
yeah.
for the pawn.
That makes me feel like you know what you're doing a little bit, but we'll see.
I've heard that battling for the center is important.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So the first 3 things you want to do in the openings are CDP, which is control the center, develop your pieces, which means get them off the back line, and then protect your king. That is called the Sicilian opening for defense, what you just did. So I don't know if you studied a little bit before.
So I did something wrong there.
No, that's actually a really good defensive strategy.
Okay.
I'm not crazy familiar with how I play it, but.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna mimic you.
Okay.
So you drew this guy.
Yeah.
Right here?
That's your knight, yep.
Okay, all right, we're bringing the knight into the center.
Yeah, which is good because they cover a lot of squares, which can ultimately control the center as best as possible.
Okay, love it, love it.
That's called a bishop.
It's a bishop.
Yep.
Okay. Chess. How does it translate to the football field?
Yeah. So actually, I wear it every single day on my wrist.
Really?
I talk about threats and attacks on my wristband. Wow. And I wear it for every game, every practice, everything.
No kidding?
For a long time, actually. I don't know how many years I've worn it for, but I haven't taken it off.
What's that mean?
So for threats and attacks, you're constantly assessing on the football field as a quarterback. Where you're getting threatened by, who's threatening you, whether it's a blitzer or a free defensive end if you slide away from him, or a corner, whatever. And you're at the same time you should also be assessing where you can attack. And so it's a constant movement of thought with a dynamic of where am I getting threatened and where can I attack at the same time. Because ultimately, if someone clears and voids space, then maybe you can replace that person with the football. Or maybe you have to, call a whole new play to attack a different part of the field, which is kind of like chess too. You have to assess where you're getting threatened by, but also where you can attack at the same time.
All right, where are you threatening me here?
Not necessarily anywhere just quite yet.
Okay.
This is always a weak spot on as a defensive, or both sides of the chessboard. That pawn on f7 is always a weak spot.
Okay.
But you're not really in any crazy trouble right now.
I'm not giving you the single high safety look yet.
No, you're doing a good job. You've moved at least one piece off the back of the line, so.
You know what? I'll go here.
Okay.
Basic move, simple one.
Yeah, sure. So you opened up a file now for my bishop where I can attack your knight, which is not necessarily a move that is winning for the white side, but that move will allow me to do some other stuff too.
Okay. 1 week from tonight.
Yeah.
Opener at home at Huntington Bank Stadium. What are you most excited about?
Everything, to be honest. I number one is being able to play with this team and this team specifically. I'm excited just to play football with them in general because we've been practicing since January, doing spring practice and winter workouts and summer workouts, and we've just been practicing the whole time and scrimmaging. But it's going to be fun just playing against a new opponent. And then also this is the biggest stage that I'll have played on in my life, and I couldn't have asked for a better team to play it with. There's some amazing dudes in this team. That ultimately, have done it before, and so I'm able to bounce ideas off of them and questions, and what am I supposed to expect when I get into Huntington Bank, and what are some things that might throw me off guard, or whatever. So I think that's always good to have in your back pocket, and I don't know. It's ultimately just football at the end of the day, but I'm very, very excited.
Yeah. What's been the biggest maybe revelation for you transferring from FCS to FBS?
Yeah, I think everyone always talks about the speed of the game, where it's their players are so much faster, and they can cover ground a lot quicker, and ultimately that's true. But the adjustment period doesn't always take as long as they say it does. It's going to take you months to get adjusted. It's not. It might take you a week or two to get adjusted, and then at the same time you have to adjust with new guys that you're playing with, that you have to build chemistry with your receivers on the field and off the field, and build chemistry with your O-line, and the way you talk and the way you verbalize things at the line of scrimmage. That's always new for a new team. And then obviously you haven't played, I've played FBS games in the past at the FCS level, but not FBS versus FBS, and I'm excited to see it happen in real life, and be a part of something big like that.
Any tips, suggestions here?
Yeah, you got yourself a little bit of. You're kind of blocking in both your bishops there, because your center pawns are blocked in. So I would probably start with moving one of those.
Okay.
Your center pawns, getting them off the front line and getting them to the center.
Move them there.
Yeah.
Greg Harbaugh Jr. mentioned earlier this week he played you. Didn't go well for him. How am I doing?
Okay. Not bad.
He also mentioned he's never had a bond with his quarterback like the one he has with you. How would you describe that bond?
It's very unique. I think we are very tied in the fact that we're limited with our time together. We have 1 year together, and he had to make a decision of what quarterback he wanted in the portal, and vice versa. I had to make a decision with what school I wanted to go to, and in a matter of like 2 weeks. And so we had to have a little bit of gut feeling and trust together that this was going to work out ultimately, and it's been amazing since I got here. Not just with him, but also with the team in general. And I ultimately trusted him with what he was telling me about the team, and what could happen here. And he's been right the whole way. And how we bond is we would sit down and watch film together all day. That's kind of our thing. We're both football junkies. It's cool to be around people who love football just as much as you do. And I think we communicate very effectively, and I'm excited to showcase that.
How early are you in the facility with him?
It depends on when he gets here. Sometimes he has a family as well. He's got to wake his kids up from bed, and he's got a wife to look after sometimes. So sometimes I get to beat him in here.
You beat him.
But half the time I walk in, it's just as he's starting to run on the treadmill, and so I'll do my work in the morning with film and stuff, and then he'll get a little workout in, and by that time I kind of move on with my day.
Okay.
I would say we're getting in here pretty evenly. I think it came out that I was like beating him in here, and sometimes it happens, but I would say most of the time we get in here at the same time.
Both very busy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be bold here.
Okay.
I'm gonna take the Knight.
Okay.
He can go 2.
Yep.
And over 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
Put him
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Trying
So-
to attack maybe.
Okay. So in the future too,
Yeah.
like when you move your knight to the side of the board,
Yep.
technically a knight covers like a whole circle, right? Because if you go up and over 1, there's one spot, there's another spot, there's a spot, there's a spot. He creates this big circle of 8 squares.
Okay.
If you put him on the side, he only covers half that circle, and so you're not controlling much of the board at that point. That's just a tip, though. I'm not saying you did anything wrong.
He spots a weakness in the defense.
Which is okay. It's not bad. All right, I will go. Let's go here,
Okay.
and I'll see what happens from there.
You guys open up conference play with Iowa under the lights. This will be your first experience with that rivalry game between you guys and the Hawkeyes.
Yeah.
What have your teammates told you about that rivalry game?
Yeah, so this will be my first time doing it. Specifically speaking on Iowa, I heard that it's an insane rivalry, especially when I think for both sides of the party, when you're playing either away or at home, I think the rivalry stays with that strong, and I think the environment on both sides of the ball are completely a new change for me, but excited for the competition and the challenge. I think last year walking away with the Florida Rose Bowl is really cool, and I think there's energy behind that right now. And I think number one, I think we're really focused on game one. I don't even think we've touched Iowa, and it's just something that kind of gets thrown around a little bit. But when that game comes, I think everyone's gonna be really excited, and I can't wait to be behind the center for that one.
What are your thoughts on that trophy?
I haven't been allowed to touch it actually, which is I guess the thing here, and I won't touch it until I'm told to, if I'm supposed to. But I mean, it looks pretty cool. I heard it's really heavy, and I think it's kind of one of those historical rivalry trophies in college football. It's that pageantry that people talk about. It's not just the celebration behind football, but also between two teams of a long-standing rivalry.
Yeah, love it. Any recommendations here? Get myself out of trouble?
Yeah, you would either push your pawn on D7 up 2 or push your E6 pawn up 1 maybe.
Okay.
One of the two.
I'm SOL, I think.
All right. We can do. What's the best attack here? All right, let's start with this.
This is somewhat like going up against Phil Parker's defense. Notice the cover 2 or areas to attack. How much does it process in your mind when you're out on the football field? You see the safety come down.
Yeah.
Like, hey, that might be a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Translate it to here. Do you notice that in game at all or in practices?
You talking about the correlation between chess and football?
Yeah.
I don't think it's like on the field thing where I'm like, oh, this coverage reminds me of this chess move. I think it's more of a mental exercise and training that you can kind of keep your brain fresh and utilize different techniques to actually mentally train yourself. I think it's instead of doing like online mental training games, it's like playing chess. And my favorite part is you get to compete actually against someone across the screen, which is online. You get to do an online chess match against someone else in the world. And so there's a little bit of that competitive nature in me where I'm like I'm about to make a move that's going to ruin your day. And that's my favorite part about playing, outside of the part that it's, mentally exercising.
Yeah. Do you like bacon?
Bacon?
Yep.
I don't know if that's a trick question.
No.
I do love bacon. I had bacon say at the state fair. And it was on a stick, and it was, easily mobile, and probably some of the best bacon I've ever had.
I love it. Any recommendations here? I'm screwed, aren't I?
No, you're not terrible. If I was playing as you, I'd probably push my pawn on E6 to get towards the center and attack my bishop, maybe.
All right.
It's probably a smart move.
I'll follow your advice here.
We'll do this. Take here, just to mess up some structure.
Okay. All right. I know you can probably end this game soon, and you're limited on time. We'll get you out of here on this. Big season ahead for you. What are you most excited about?
It's a great question. Number one, I think, like I said earlier, playing with this team in this new environment is something that I could, have only dreamed of. I think the people that I'm playing with are all around class people, and that makes playing football a lot more fun. And people who love doing it, and love doing the extra work after practice, and love going to the film room. Being around people who just love doing what I do, like together, it's a combination that you can only dream for, and that's what I'm most excited for. And I would say it also, I have like 20 or 30 family and friends coming to the first game, and kind of, going through the transition of FCS to FBS, and taking my family and friends along with me. That's something that really means a lot to me, and part of my why is playing for my family. Something that football is, for me, is defined as family, just because we've been doing it my whole life. I've been watching football my whole life, and that's just synonymous with it for me. And it's just such a cool feeling I get to share the experience with my family and friends too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wrapping up here, draw on your wristband here. How would you attack me? How would you end this?
There's a couple things probably.
Okay.
It might take a few moves. I think I have to see what you did. You would probably take here first.
Okay.
I would take here. You would probably block with this. And at that point, I would probably take it. You go here. I'm playing chess against myself. And then I would go here. You would probably want to castle soon, so you would move. Your pawn structure's all messed up. Don't want to pin your king. Probably go here and then castle. You would. See, there's a few different options you could do here. I might push. You might push I would push. You would take. I would get out of dodge. See, now I'm playing just against myself here. There's a few different things you could do.
Yeah.
Now I've got myself in a predicament, which you could have done easily.
Yeah.
Because you've been playing chess for a while. So you could probably see that. It's just as much as I could have. But Coach Fleck doesn't want the smoke in chess either.
Have you ever played?
He hasn't asked to play me yet because he
Oh.
knows it might be a beatdown.
A quick one.
But it's a fun way to kind of get away from football, and I'm glad that I got introduced to it so early.
Perfect. That's checkmate. QB1.